Hola, welcome to Slowpoke Travel. I'm Buck and this is Camera Girl, and this is our budget for month number 2 in Cuenca,
Ecuador.
This is our third budget video. We did our first week in Guayaquil, and we'll have that link somewhere. We got our first month in Cuenca, which is our total costs for 30 days in the city of Cuenca. How much we spent for the first 30 days.
And that was extensive. We don't plan on going into that much detail because we're predictable creatures.
Yes, that was a longer video and it was very detailed with lots of asides. I'll have a link to that. And that cost for our first month in Cuenca for our first 30 days was $1,927.48.
What about the second month, Buck?
The second month, our total cost for the next 30 days was $1,700.89.
No. Yeah. $1,789.36 compared to the first month of $1,927.48.
Yeah.
It was about $150 cheaper.
Yeah, I can't do big numbers. So our costs from the first 30 days to the second 30 days went down slightly. Mm-hmm. And, you can visually see it. And so we'll just run through these here. Our lodging for 30 days was $659.26.
And it was less basically because we moved to another Airbnb, but we also got the monthly discount because, again, we're going to be staying for 4 weeks. And it was actually slightly less than our first Cuenca Airbnb per night.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. We're very happy with our lodging costs because we are getting kind of nicer lodging. We're getting a little bit, kind of an apartment with a little bit of room. Mm-hmm. We're always going for the washer because we like to have, we don't travel with a lot of clothes. So we want to have the option of washing our clothes quite easily. But having that monthly discount makes a big difference. Because right now, this is our cost for our second set of 30 days. But, at the time that we're making this video, that second month has passed. So now we're into our third month. We're into a different budget now, and it's actually going to go up.
Yeah, a little bit.
It makes a big difference having that discount for the 30 days when you're dealing with Airbnb.
No ground transportation.
Yep. So our transportation costs zip.
That's right.
As we said in our other video, we're walking everywhere, and we've continued to walk everywhere. So you can spend a little bit of money. Taxis are cheap. Transportation is cheap. But if you like to walk,
Cuenca's a good town to do it.
You don't have to spend anything. The phone?
Oh, phone. I made a mistake. I think I led folks to believe that the first month in Cuenca, we paid $18 for 2 months. That wasn't accurate. It was $18 per month, but we paid 2 months at one time. But it's still very reasonable to get.
But that doesn't change the numbers. The budget was still $1,927 1 month, and it's still $1,789.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But that's why we got phone on this month's budget as well.
But then there's snacks, and we went up by $50.
Yeah.
When we first came to Ecuador, we had a little bit of willpower when we walk by those bakeries, and they smell so good, and we were like, the smell, it's enough, and we won't be tired because we won't be eating it. Pat, 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 pat. But we succumbed.
Yeah,
so
our
we
willpower
kept on.
did not hold out, so we're eating more snacks and pastries.
Yes.
Dining out actually went down a little bit.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of surprised. We still have our dining out costs are still pretty high, but we do it constantly.
You know what I just realized? I'm going to give us one out with snacks. I'm going to bounce for 1 second. This is my one aside. We went to that fancy French place just off Café Calderon during this period of time.
Oh, you counted that in there?
Yes, because it was 2 chocolate martinis and 2 lovely desserts.
Yeah. So that one outing right there was $30.
Yes. Anyway, okay. So dining out, as you say, went down.
It went down because, of course, now that we've been here longer, the more time we spend, we find our places we really like. And a lot of times the places we really like are a combination of really good food at great prices. So we've had a lot of good food in a lot of different places, but the places that become our regular places that we go back to, they're going to, because I like less expensive places. I mean, I like cheap stuff. So, we're going to frequent the more affordable places. So even though we've continued to eat out a lot and we've been treating ourselves, it's gone down a little bit. I think a video I put up last week or a few weeks ago, I got a few comments, people, because we went somewhere and we spent $20 on breakfast. For breakfast and coffee, and people were saying, "Oh, they were surprised that breakfast was that expensive," and that's about as expensive as it gets. It's kind of not the norm, to go out for breakfast and coffee and spend $20. You could do it for a lot less quite easily, but you can't spend $20. You can really run the gamut of costs. We can go out. There's a couple places where we can go just get bolognas and coffee, and easily spend less than $10, right around $5 some places.
And you described that in the other videos. He gets very excited talking about how cheap good food is. And we do enjoy food. Yeah. You notice when we travel, it's all about the food.
Yeah.
So.
But you can spend $20 for breakfast.
Yes. Or more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we don't go to a fancy hotel.
Because I don't want to hear Buck.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Buck talking about it.
We don't go to tourist places. We try not to. But the place where we spent the $20 wasn't a tourist place. It was a local place near the Super Key. Yeah. And it was Ecuadorian food that we were eating. It wasn't like we were getting Denver omelets. We got a Tigrillo and bologna for that breakfast. But it was a nice place. It had a nice setup. They were definitely catering more towards, a hipster type vibe maybe. But yeah, you can spend $20.
And because we love food, third category, groceries and markets. And we went up just a little bit. I bought some more nuts to have, a little more fiber in our diet. Those are more expensive. And then a couple of meal treats to have at the house. Yeah. Brussels sprouts were cheap, but we had a couple of things. But
nothing on medical.
Right.
Pharmacy, we just got some skin cream. Last time, the first month, we spent a little bit more because we were stocking up on stuff. But
yeah,
we didn't have to duplicate any of those things. So hardly nothing for pharmacy. Sundry again. Oh, you're counting the water filter for that. Now, that's a thing that we... the first Airbnb that we stayed at had a little pitcher that was a water filter. So we'd put our tap water in there and we just poured it out through the filter. Now, theoretically, Cuenca has potable water, but we sort of liked, we got used to having the filter. We knew we were going to be here for, a number of weeks to come. So we just went ahead and invested and got paid a little bit for a water filter. And we got that at... Costas Prep. Yes. I'll put a link down below. If you're in Cuenca and you want to find out where to get a water filter to filter your water, and that's international sign for water filter, then I will have that link down below.
Well, and they were like a shop that if you couldn't find things elsewhere, I thought the proprietor did a great job of trying to carry that. Kent.
Anyway, Costas Prep. If you are a gringo and you want something gringo-ish, you got like a gringo gadget in mind? Because we ended up going to Costas Prep and getting a few things there.
Like your oxygen meter.
Yeah, but there was something else too.
Water filter, coffee filters were for a small size coffee maker.
Yeah, like if we had something in mind that we wanted, and we were looking around at stores, and like the pharmacy or whatever kind of store we were looking for something and we couldn't find it in the Ecuadorian markets.
Right.
Then we would just end up at Costas Prep and
But it wasn't just for gringos. In fact, when we left the water filter, because we weren't going to bring it back, we gifted it to the next people in the Airbnb. The hostess asked us where we got it from, and she was local.
Yeah. But she didn't know where to get it because she was a local Ecuadorian. Because it was a gringo type thing.
It was
the
an
Greta
export type thing. If you
Yeah.
or an import, I should say.
type thing. You're
Yeah.
right.
So okay. Wearables. We're not
Wearables,
talking about your beanie again.
Nothing. We didn't get any clothes. We didn't buy any stuff like that. We don't buy stuff like that. We travel very light. Our bags are crammed. We're minimalist packers. We don't have any room for
I
increasing
definitely
our
don't.
stuff.
You have a little more. But you also notice we don't buy a lot of souvenirs. There's lots of people, they need an extra bag and they're going to get souvenirs. That's why we try to give some details because, you'll determine, I probably need to add so much for souvenirs or big tours, zip lining, this, that, and the other.
We make videos and I send links of our videos to our family and that's their gift. That's it. That's all they're getting.
And we come back with stories.
Yeah.
And with good dispositions.
Yeah, sure. Activities. We went up on the activities, I guess because of my Spanish lessons. There was a little bit more for Spanish lessons. Museum entry fee. I went with my Spanish teacher to a
cloistered nunnery.
A nunnery convent type thing where they had some tours. And that was, golly, I don't know what we paid. I think that might have been $8 each or $5 each.
It was a little more, but you were also supporting the nunnery.
Yeah.
And they created wine and breads and candies and different things you could purchase. But the nuns had no contact with the outside world. There were 2 nunneries like that.
It was interesting, but I'm
Cuenca.
just not used to stuff. I'm just so used to things being inexpensive. I was surprised. In fact, my Spanish teacher was a little surprised at how much it was.
But I thought it was great. You did something a little different.
Yeah. And so that's activities. And then for entertainment, again, just
Books.
walking around and eating is our entertainment. But we did buy 3 more books. And English language used books. We found a couple places in El Centro area that had really nice selections of reading materials in English. But it costs a little bit. So we spent $18 more for 3 used books. And that
included credits for things we were returning.
Yeah, including a $10 credit. So it was would have been $28. But since we returned the books that we got before, it was a little less.
But we both picked, I think we got 1 trade paperback and the other 2 were larger paperbacks. Again, all used.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, that's what we chose to spend our money on. But we just enjoy, as you say, rambling around. You meet people and just observe a different culture. You get a feel of a different country's history, architecture, and food.
Yeah,
that's what we enjoy.
Yeah, it's very entertaining just living somewhere
different.
As much as we can just to have a normal lifestyle. We're somewhere for a while and we're just trying, and because we're working remotely, we're kind of living somewhere as opposed to visiting it. So we don't do a lot of touristy things. We don't do a lot of vacation-y type things. So, you'll probably have a different experience, with your activities and your costs if you're just coming to Cuenca for a week's vacation. Since we are, almost like looking at it as almost like research into possibilities of where we might live for a longer period of time in the future. So we're kind of experiencing the city from that perspective. So we're not treating ourselves to a lot of fancy stuff. We're trying to live like maybe we might normally live somewhere.
I go with my girlfriends for that kind of travel because I don't want to hear but yeah, like on the way back there was a young man. He was probably 24, 25, and he had spent like 10 days in Ecuador, and he had swam with the sea turtles. He had zip lined. He had done rock climbing behind a waterfall. He'd done something else in the Amazon. He was lovely. And
he was lovely. But we ain't climbing no rocks. We ain't swimming with no turtles.
You were sitting behind me, buddy.
Where was that at? Oh, you're not talking about the fellow we had dinner with?
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the fellow we ate dinner with that one night.
No, he was staying at the hostel.
That guy was a turtle swimming, rock climbing fool too.
No, he went to the Inca ruins outside of
He'd done all
Cuenca.
that kind of stuff though, but we're not doing that kind of stuff. Like they're parachuting into holes in the ground and What else are they doing?
Anyway, those are our costs.
That's it.
For the second month.
Our largest cost, again, was lodging. And we've spent a lot on food, but you could spend a lot less. But anyway, this is just an overview of how much it could cost you if you want to live a lifestyle similar to what we're living in Cuenca. So there's our first. So we've got links around. You can see how much we spent for 1 week in Guayaquil. And now we've got our monthly budgets broken up here if you want to take a look at those, and I'll put some pictures of some more specific stuff so you can see how Camera Girl is tracking that stuff. But our total costs for 60 days in Cuenca is this, or maybe this. I'll do this here. This is our third budget video. We'll end up doing one more budget video, I think, after this one here, which will be a total encapsulation of our entire costs.
Because sometimes the beginning or the end are a little more chaotic.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be different.
Maybe.
And I'm sure it will be because our lodging costs have gone up a little bit.
Since we finished
with our
this.
fourth Airbnb.
Yeah.
So,
fifth.
Boom, boom, boom. Where are we at? So that's it.
That's it.
Alrighty. So thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions at all, you just ask down below in the comments and we'll answer them if we got a good answer for you. Or anybody can answer down below in the comments. If you've got some good ideas, if you live in Cuenca and you've got some suggestions, you can leave that down below for people. But yeah, please ask away and we'll help any way we can. We appreciate you watching and subscribing and thumbs it up. And we got a Patreon if you want to support us there. Again, linkity-linkity-loo. And that's it. We'll see you in the future. Bye-bye.
Adios.
What would you think, Mom?